Welcome, everybody, back to the Far Post podcast. I'm your host today, Elizabeth Pehota, and I'm joined here by my co-host, Jeff Lemieux. Jeff, it's a beautiful day in New England today. Sun is shining, and it's officially summer. So June 21st marked the first day of summer. I know that you have a bit of an issue with that, though.
Yeah, for me, we're deep. One, it's not sunny in Plainville. I can tell you that. I don't know where the sun is.
I'm pretty sure it's going to storm here in about 20 minutes in Boston.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at some rain right now. It's getting a little windy. But I'm deep into the third week of summer personally, because to me, June is a summer month. So June 1st is summer. We can have this argument as we have had several times. But to me, June 1st is a summer day, just like December 18th is a winter day, not a fall day. That's always going to be my argument. So I think I just enjoy summer more than you do.
Oh, that's not true.
That's just what it is.
March 1st is definitely still part of winter and not spring yet. And it also snowed in May. Maybe the lesson is just that New England is a little rambunctious when it comes to the weather.
So then for you, May is a winter month because it snowed in May.
No, not what I said. I said March is a winter month.
I don't know, but you said it snowed in May, so that must mean it's a winter month. I don't know.
In like 5 years, it's going to snow in June here. You know that. So it's
true.
Fun.
It probably has before.
What about global warming, guys? All right, but Jeff, how are you doing otherwise?
I'm good. I actually went this morning for the first time since March 13th. I went to the Revolution Training Center for about 2 minutes. I walked in, had a COVID-19 test done, and then walked out. Didn't interact with anybody. But I think I'm going to be tested, 4 times before we leave for Orlando next week. So it's all preparation for getting ready to head down to Orlando and the MLS's back tournament. So even though I won't interact with anybody on the team before we go to Orlando, I'm still going to be tested, 4 times before we go. So they're taking every precaution that they can. But it was nice to head into the training facility for the first time in 3 months, even if it was for literally 2 minutes.
How bad did that test suck?
It's not as bad because I think people assume it's the one that goes like all the way up. It's not the one that goes all the way up. You just got to go like an inch up and then swirl for 20 seconds.
Oh no, you got it. It's yeah.
It's not fun, but it's not the one, not the other one.
My right nostril is like itchy and like it doesn't feel good. It hurts, and then the left nostril, it's like I'm gonna sneeze every time.
Really? So the right
before
nostril.
The sneeze.
It's weird that they feel different.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. Right nostril this morning, eyes started watering pretty bad. Left nostril, I didn't have as much reaction, which then makes me feel like I'm not going high enough. So it's like if your eyes aren't watering, you're like, do I go farther? What do I do? I don't know.
You have it here. It's just oh god.
Yeah. I'm gonna go until I feel like I can't go anymore, and then I'm gonna stop.
Right there with you, man.
Taking out all the precautions because MLS is officially back and the tournament is happening down in Orlando in less than 2 weeks. We have a lot to talk about on today's episode of the Far Post podcast. And luckily we have New England Revolution midfielder Kelyn Rowe, who couldn't wait to talk and jump in joining us. Kelyn, thank you for hanging out with us.
Of course. You know I love to talk.
We do know you love to talk. But before we get to soccer-related content, I want to address the elephant in the room that's been blinding me since you joined this video call. And that's
I know.
your
Jeff
hair.
shaved his head.
Get the shine.
Oh, sorry. Oh, my hair. Yeah. Sorry.
Hair is a sensitive topic for Jeff, so we can't dive in too deep on the bald part. He can make the jokes about it, but we can't. However, I'm blonde, so I can make all the blonde jokes about you that I want to.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, last time we saw you in Foxborough, you were a brunette. You had constantly been trimming your beard. And since then, you grew out your hair completely. You didn't shave. And now the first time we're talking again, you're blonde. What inspired the blonde hair?
I'm just a dramatic human being. You know, I just want to keep the people guessing. No, through quarantine, I didn't shave. I didn't touch my hair. And it was bad. It was really bad. My mom was like begging me to do something with it. She's like, at least trim your neck beard. So I trimmed like a little bit of my neck beard, but that beard was gigantic. And then the hair just kind of got everywhere, and I thought about growing it out again. But it's just, when you have to go to Orlando for a month and it's so humid, you don't want all that. And then, you know, I enjoy, last time it was blonde, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I thought I'd, look decent in it. We'll see. I still can't determine it yet. So I figured I'd make a dramatic change and get a full 180 here.
You mentioned not shaving and not cutting your hair. How did that no shave concept start?
It started with I just didn't care because I wasn't going to see anyone I figured it would be a month. I didn't know it was going to be 3. So I figured, okay, I'll just let it grow out a little bit. Not a big deal. It was pretty short. When I went into quarantine, I'd be okay. And then I made a stupid bet with one of my buddies, and it was that I couldn't shave until we played our next game. I thought, dude, it'll be a month away. Like, we're going to come back in and train soon. Don't worry about it. Month goes by. Another month goes by. We're not even close. And I'm going, oh no, this is not good. So I figured I should just go as long as I could. I bargained him down to being able to shave last week.
What was on the line?
Money I didn't want to pay him.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna ask, is I know so many guys who literally the first day that they could go out and get their hair cut or get a beard trimmed or get anything done, guys like raced out to get it done. You gave it a little bit of time, so that's because you had to. If you had a choice, you'd have gone out and done it first day.
It was torture. It was torture because and he knew it too, and he was just like, "No, you can't go. You can't go. You got to wait it out. I want you just to dangle that little fruit in front of you. You can't do it."
I know a lot of people too were sending you pictures, at least on Instagram stories, of people they thought you looked like while you had the hair and the beard. Did you have a favorite one that people thought you looked like?
Oh man, I really liked the Hangover. That was really good. Alan from The Hangover, I thought was really good. Anchorman, Will Farrell from Anchorman was really good. Milk was a bad choice. That one was really spot on. Towards the end, I started looking more like a caveman Wolverine. But my buddy did send me, the Captain America one, but he goes, if he was weak, and like before the transformation. I thought that was really funny. So my buddies had a good time with it, and they're having a good time with this too. So it's good.
Well, my favorite one was the caddy from Happy Gilmore, because I wouldn't have thought of that. And then I saw the picture, and I was like, that one's actually kind of spot.
That one was actually me. I loved that one. I thought that was hilarious. First thing, when I saw that photo, I was like, oh my gosh, I look like the caddy from Happy Gilmore.
Was dyeing your hair blonde a part of the deal as well?
No, that was on me. I wanted to do it. Yeah. Like I said, I wanted it to be a dramatic change where no one actually, I walked into the meal room the day before, and we have our masks on, and almost everyone thought I was Diego. Yeah. No one had any idea who I was. It was great. Man. It was great.
Does Diego do the Spider-Man thing?
Me, you. Yeah, it was good.
Who did you trust to dye your hair? It's a big job, obviously.
It's a huge job. No, there's a buddy of mine's in Charlestown.
Okay. So it wasn't you that did it. You didn't do it yourself.
No. Oh God, no. That would have turned orange, maybe blue. It was accidental, and it would have been bad.
Oh man. And yeah. I have to ask this because I've gotten asked this before, but how much more fun do blondes have?
A lot more. I've got so much more confidence now.
I got one more question on the hair. As you were going through the process of trimming the beard and cutting the hair, at how many points did you stop with different beard styles and hairstyles and take pictures? Like, do you have is your whole camera roll just a million pictures?
So much fun. It is so much fun to do the beard. And so I did the halfway, half of it was gone, the other half wasn't. I did the mustache, the goatee, but the curly mustache, because I could, one side didn't go, the other side did. But it was so creepy. It was so creepy. And then I put the soul patch. I put just the mustache. Yeah. Oh, I had some.
You got to see what it looks like.
I had some. You gotta know. Yeah. And my buddies were not happy. They're like, dude, just shave it. We get it. You look funny. Just shave it all off and then show us.
Oh man, my brother came down with a handlebar mustache at one point, and my mom sent him right back upstairs.
See, I don't live with my folks, so I just get the calls and the messages and the pleading of please shave it, and I can just say no because I don't have to see them.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I want a caveat. I don't usually live with my parents. Just gonna throw that one out there. Special circumstances. But switching gears a little bit, I know that you guys have been back in full team training for about 2 to 3 weeks. You hadn't seen your teammates prior to that, so how sweet was that reunion when you finally got to be with them?
Oh, they're so annoying. Oh my gosh. I'm just kidding. No, it's great. We've really enjoyed kind of being able to somewhat kind of, hang out together again and play on the field and joke around. I mean, the banter started right away, and it's been incredible. So we've had a good time being back, and obviously playing is great, but being able to kind of interact in the locker rooms and outside on the field, it's been amazing.
Whose banter game has been the best since you guys got back?
Teal started pretty hot. He came in pretty hot, and I loved it. Yeah, he's always up there though.
He's just writing down notes for the last 3 months.
He's always giving people a hard time. Yeah, he's like pulling out his notebook. Yeah, you remember what you said 3 months ago?
Was Andrew up there as well? I feel like he always throws shots on social.
He loves a good social shot. Yeah, he loves a good social shot.
Because he doesn't want to just hit you. He wants to burn you in front of everybody else. That's what makes the burn.
Yeah, makes it better.
The best kind. And since you guys have been back, like I mentioned, you've been there for about 2.5 weeks. How much progress have you seen the team make since being on the field?
I think it's been good. I mean, you have the different progressions. So we started with the individual training, and that's good. You get some kind of base of a fitness, but not fully soccer fitness, just a base. You get into small group trainings, which we didn't have long, which is good. You can kind of get into a little bit of passing with each other, not formational, but, tactical and technical things. And then you get into full training, and that's when we ramped it up pretty quickly, and guys have taken to it very nicely. And I think the progression of getting our fitness back soccer wise, 90 minutes and things of that sort, which still needs some work, but it's getting there really quickly, has been good. That's the first week, maybe week and a half. And now we're getting towards the soccer end of things, where we're getting the tactics, we're getting the relationships between players, and really connecting really well. And the past few scrimmages we've had have been very good.
You mentioned ramping up quickly. I know that this is a little bit of a different situation than preseason. Yeah. What are the similarities in your mind as you're looking forward to the MLS's back tournament?
The similarities between this and preseason is my body hurts. Everything in my body hurts. So it's a ramped up preseason, and it's like you're going into, if you're from the outside in, you're looking at, okay, this is like a preseason tournament. But for us, this isn't a preseason tournament because we have to win the games. In preseason, if you're down and things of that sort, you're just trying to, look good and, play for a spot, or, you're just trying to get your fitness up. This is not that. You have to go in, and those first 3 games are very important, and they're towards our season points wise. And it's going, okay, this isn't something you can just relax on. And so we're having to do that preseason tournament, getting our games in, just playing with each other here. And hopefully we can, our mindset's been amazing so far. We know that we have to go in and win. Hopefully that translates on the field.
Yeah, I kind of want to ask about those intra-squad scrimmages, because you mentioned kind of the biggest difference between this preparation and preseason preparation is you don't have that opportunity to get on the field and play 90-minute matches against a different team. So I know we always talk about there's a certain level that MLS regular season games are at, and then preseason games are obviously below that when you're playing against other teams. But where does intra-squad scrimmages that you're trying to treat like preseason games, where does that fall in the intensity level?
It's intensity level can get up there, but you're not playing for hardware. You're not playing for points. You're not playing for those kind of things. Yeah, you're playing for a starting spot, a job, and that thing happens, but that happens every day in training. So it's a little bit different. You're not getting as it's a little bit different kind of competitiveness, because you're also switching teams and switching players and you can, it's a practice, obviously practice like you play. There's some very good competition. There is some battles. There are some hard tackles. There's everything you want. But it's very different than going into playing a game, because you have that 11 players that you're playing with. And now you had the 5 subs, which is nice. But you have, that's it. And so you're constantly playing in that position, and you're playing with the same guys at all times.
How do you make that switch mentally, that these are the preseason games, doing them inter squad, versus when you're in preseason, you obviously have matches against other teams?
It's about being professional. I mean, we understand that these games mean a lot, and luckily with everyone, I think, in the world, if you throw something to compete for, whether it be hardware, money, points, an athlete especially is going to fight for that. It's our competitive nature. And I think that's going to flip a switch, and it's going to be hard because there are going to be no fans. It's going to be hard because we are playing in horrible heat, horrible humidity, and we're not 90 minutes fit. No matter how you do it, you're not 90 minutes fit against another team with that kind of competitiveness. So it's going to be very difficult. It's just about being a good pro. And then, and Bruce just said this, that it's going to come down to using subs very, very well. And I think they're going to.
And following up on that too, when you talk about some of the conditions and the heat and the humidity and not having as much kind of preseason fitness as you normally would, how much is part of this tournament, and I don't want to get too far ahead in terms of what we're going to talk about, but how much is this tournament going to rely more so on kind of grit and determination and mentality and resiliency as opposed to how it might kind of normally play out in the middle of a regular season?
It's going to come down to a lot of things. And I think every game's going to be absolutely up in the air from the first minute down to the 90th, because you just don't know what's going to happen. Whether it be guys kind of shut down after 20 minutes in the heat and humidity. If it's, the right subs are made and they make a huge impact and you go on to score 2 goals to come back and win the game. You don't know. And that's what's so good about this game that we play. But there's a huge advantage to the guys who play in the humidity already. There's a huge advantage to, guys who have the depth, I think, that we have in a team that can kind of transition players to players and then put in some big name players in off the bench. I think, it comes down to, yes, the grit and the integrity, but I think it comes down to the coaching as well. Like I said, when to make the subs, who to put in, putting on the right lineup, and just managing as many players as you can, because, like I said, we've talked about how we're not 90 minutes fit yet because we haven't played games, and you're asking us to go compete and stay healthy, and then have a four-day period to turn it around and to go do it again. It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy task. And yes, we're supposed to be as fit as we can, and we are, but it's asking a lot.
You mentioned the coaching has a lot to do with it and how they kind of use those subs. With midfielder Luis Caicedo being out for the remainder of the season due to a meniscus injury, what has head coach Bruce Arena's message to you been about your role as there's a fight for minutes?
Well, there's a fight for minutes just about everywhere on the field, which is so good. I think our depth in our team is very good at the moment. Especially if we can stay as healthy as we can. Obviously, without Luis, it's a bit tougher because he was always that engine in the midfield. He was that 8-6 that was just always around, winning tackles and everything of that sort. So, Bruce and I have had a conversation once or twice since I've been back, or since we have been back. And, it's just, we're still early. I think the next week or two, we'll really have a conversation about what's going on minutes wise, but because we are still interchanging with the squads, interchanging with our scrimmages, and making sure that everyone can play together, because you're going to have to use, 16 players in just about every game. It's your role is going to be whatever it needs to be that day. So for me, if it's 60, 70, 90 minutes in the number 8 or number 6 role, that's what it is. If it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 90 minutes in the left, right wing, forward, whatever it may be, they all know I can do it as many positions as they want. But I think there's only 1 or 2 that they're hopefully looking for me.
And with everyone healthy besides Caicedo, you mentioned that you have to balance staying healthy and also being fit. How do you mentally tackle that as a player? Is there a fine line?
There is, so it's in preseason, it's a little bit longer, right? If you feel something in your hamstring or your quad or whatever it may be, if you get a little knocked, you can take a day or 2 and, recover it as much as you can and then start again, because it is such a long preseason. You're able to gradually earn that fitness, gradually earn that 90-minute fit. Now it's not so hard, it's not so easy. If you feel that knock, how much do you want to push? It's if you push too hard, because we haven't been in training, if you push too hard, are you going to hurt it more? Or is it just a soreness that you're not used to feeling in the past 3 to 5 months that you're just not used to? So it's about controlling your body, knowing your body, taking care of your body, before and after training. I think we've done that very well with our training staff, making sure guys get in. If you're feeling anything, get in early, warm it up, do whatever you can to make sure that you can train fully. And if you can't train fully, they've had guys, making sure that they are taking care of their bodies and getting back as fast as possible, because it's not easy to miss a week or two and come back in and be 1 week ready to go play 90 minutes. It's almost impossible.
And coming back into full team training, besides, like Elizabeth mentioned, Luis Caicedo being out for the season, otherwise, you now have a healthy squad. That includes getting Carlos Heel back into the mix. And because Adam Buksa joined this past offseason, and then Carlos was injured for the majority of the preseason, we haven't seen, and fans haven't seen, an opportunity to get Carlos, Gustavo, Adam all on the field together. You've seen them on the field for the past few weeks or so, and I know fans are really excited to hopefully see all three of those guys on the field together in Orlando. Kind of how dangerous, and you throw other guys into the mix, obviously, Diego and you and Teal and Pania. I mean, how dangerous can this attacking group be when you are fully healthy?
I hate defending them. I hate it. It is the worst thing, because they are like water. They are so fluid with everything they do, and they are starting to connect really well. When I talked about those relationships growing, those three have created a relationship. And you throw, like you said, you throw in a Teal that makes unreal runs to open up space for himself and others. Pania, who's very good on the ball and can link up with just about everyone. Diego, the same. You got Wilfred, who is, an incredible passer in between lines, big body, who can also score goals. You have Tayshaun running with speed, Dewan running with speed, Brandon Bai running with speed. Are you kidding me? It's amazing to watch, honestly. Sometimes I hate defending them, but it's amazing to watch them just slide around and be so fluid with and without the ball with everything they do. So fans should be excited.
All right, good to hear.
Given what you've seen with your teammates on the field, how confident are you guys heading into this tournament?
We're athletes, so we have a confidence that is just stupid. But we're excited. I think without looking at other teams and what they're doing, I don't think we were satisfied with our first two games, and so that was a little bit of hunger, a little bit of pit in our stomach. We wanted to get back as fast as possible to kind of redo that, and I think we're getting our chance. I like the level that we've brought back in from the first day. I think our fitness from top to bottom has been amazing. I think our relationships are growing every day, and they started off really good. So I'm very confident in at the very least getting out of our bracket and going on as hopefully as far as we can. But we're looking very confident in this.
MLS's back tournament is obviously something completely different from what you guys are used to in a regular season, with a completely different format. What are your thoughts on that, with the group stage and knockout rounds and anything that kind of resembles a World Cup style?
Could be good. I don't know. I think it could be good. I think a few teams may have gotten the short end of the stick there with having 6 in their group rather than the 4. It's real tough, because if you come out with the best record of, if you're 4th place, you come out with the best 3rd place record, but you're in 4th place. Unlucky, so I'm really glad we're not in that one. But I think it could be good. It could be exciting. I know they want to get all the games on TV. I think that could be good for, later on. And right now everyone wants to watch sports. So I think that's a positive for our sport and our league. And I'm just really hoping that the quality is going to be amazing and people are happy with it. I know that we will bring out the quality. So I'm hoping that everyone watches our games. But it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we haven't done this in a very long time, and I'm trying to think of the last time I've had a tournament like this, and it'd have to be the Gold Cup, and I had a great time doing so. So hopefully it's that same excitement, it's that same enjoyment that I had doing that one, and that was a hot one as well, and down in Nashville and Cleveland as well. So and Florida, we had played in Tampa, so it's going to be interesting. I have no idea what to expect. That's what's crazy. You kind of go into a preseason, you go into a midseason game, you kind of know what to expect because you've done it for, this is my 9th year. You've done it for 9 years. So you're like, this is just another game. And this is out of left field here. We don't know what's going to, what to expect, how to prepare. We're just going to do the best we can and be as professional as we can going forward.
There's a lot on the line in this tournament too. You have your 3 regular season games, the Kickoff Champions League berth, and then also prize money. How much of a factor do those extra incentives play in this tournament?
Like I said before, you throw some kind of goal at someone, especially an athlete that's so competitive. Our competitive nature comes out. When you throw points in front of us the first 3 games, those are going to be more competitive now. If you throw hardware and you throw some money involved, you throw a CONCACAF Champions League title in there, it's going to create that competitiveness that people want to see and that we want as well. Obviously we want to play as much as we can, but to have a goal at the end of it makes it a little bit sweeter. And I think that's going to bring out the competitiveness come the times when we do get tired and we do need that grit. We do need that push. It's going to have in the back of our mind, okay, this is worth it.
In talking with Andrew Farrell, he mentioned that there's a little bit of an extra element of competitiveness because everyone's staying at the same hotel, at the same resort, in that same bubble. So you don't want to get knocked out even more because you don't want to have to see everybody after you get knocked out. How much of a pride factor is involved?
Oh, we are petty, man. We are so petty. And we would, and I've got, luckily for me, luckily and unluckily, but I've played with a lot of players now throughout the leagues. Or throughout the teams, and I'm able to then banter and talk and make sure they know what happened that game or what happened in their game. And, like I said, the competitiveness kind of flies and it goes from locker room to locker room and it goes from player to player on and off the field. And it's going to be a lot of fun for that reason. But also, yeah, it is, if you are losing a game, and especially if you lose it big, but if you lose the game, you don't want to see anyone else from any other team. You want to be in your room and you're like, oh crap. Like if you walk by someone, you're kind of giving one of these, you don't want to hear it.
I believe that. It's going to be close quarters. Mm-hmm. And looking specifically at Group C, how do you evaluate the competition that the Revs will face with Toronto, DC United, and the Montreal Impact?
I think it's all going to be good games. I'm looking at, past times we played them. Look at Toronto being, the finalists last year. You look at Montreal already playing them. I think it's going to be another big battle because we felt we could have done a lot better. And then you see a DC, which, we always get up for DC games. DC and Red Bull, you're always getting up for those games. And it's going to be an exciting one. So I think it's going to be good competition. I think we match up very well with just about every team in that. And I think our quality will shine through that. And I'm excited to get out of that bracket.
You mentioned playing Montreal at the start of the season. It wasn't exactly how you guys wanted it to go. Mm-hmm. How does playing the opponent, even though it was a couple months ago, a different look, aid you guys heading into the tournament?
You kind of understand what they want to do. Now it's going to be different. We were playing inside on turf. We were playing not in Orlando in the heat, and you're playing a team that you don't know what injuries they're going to have, what style they're going to play, and especially with the conditions that are going to happen. So it's nice to know their players. It's nice to understand what they want to do tactically and which players link up really well together. But also the fact that we played them gives us a little extra edge of, we wanted to get more out of that. We thought we should have got more out of that. That pit in our stomach that I talked about earlier is there, especially against Montreal. So we want to be able to make sure that we come out hard and we make a result that we thought we should have had another time.
Both teams are going to look a little different. Obviously, you guys have Carlos back in the mix.
Right.
Montreal have Victor Wanyama in the mix. He only made one appearance for Montreal, made that CONCACAF Champions League appearance. So the teams themselves are going to look different. But something I'm interested in that's going to be a factor for both teams and for every team throughout this competition are the kickoff times, because they are unique kickoff times. And as of the time that we are recording this podcast, we don't have confirmation yet on what time you guys are going to be kicking off these matches, but we know it's going to be either 9 a.m., 8 p.m., or 10:30 p.m. 8 p.m. obviously is a relatively standard kickoff, but 9 a.m. and 10:30 p.m. are both vastly different than what you guys are used to. So what are the challenges of each of those potential opportunities, playing at 9 a.m. or playing at 10:30 p.m.?
I think the hardest one, in my opinion, the hardest one would be the 10:30, right? So waiting all day, you have to kind of change your sleep schedule a little bit. I'm in bed by 10:30. Like I'm an old man. Like I'm in bed by 10:30. I've had my cup of tea and I'm knocked out. So that's going to be a hard one for us. Making sure you can stay focused throughout the whole day, and get through that. And you're also isolated in a room, which just doesn't make it easy in any way. You can't, you're not walking around and, loosen up your legs a little bit. That's just not how things work there. The 9 a.m. you can kind of twist it. And this is just my mind. We train at 10 a.m. every day. So you're just an hour earlier. You're hoping that your body can kind of get used to that because you're training hard every day. Now you're not playing 90 minutes, but you're training hard every day around 10 a.m. So hopefully your body is somewhat used to that. And like you said, the 8 o'clock is close to the 7:30 that we would be playing on a normal schedule. So you're hoping that that's okay too. But you just don't know. And when do you eat your pregame meal in the 9 a.m. game? You're not going for a practice. You're playing 90 minutes. So are you waking up earlier, having your coffee, having a big breakfast, small breakfast? How do you eat when you're at 10:30 game? You're used to eating only once or twice before a game, but now you have to eat 3, maybe 4 times before the game at 10:30. It's so up in the air that until you go through it, you don't know.
So I had this conversation with Matt Turner, and I had made a similar point thinking, okay, well, the 9 a.m. game, that's totally unusual, but you do normally train in the morning, so at least you're used to playing soccer. But then Matt brought up the point of, am I going to eat the pregame meal at 5? Like, am I going to get up at 5 a.m., eat a pregame meal, and then go back to sleep for 2 hours? Like, what do I do? So he actually thought that the 9 a.m. game would be more difficult than the 10:30 p.m. game. But I remember the 2016 U.S. Open Cup final in Dallas, which you started in. That game didn't kick off until about 9:20 local time in Dallas. And that was weird to kick off at 9:20 local time. So I completely understand. We'll reiterate, like, these are the times these games have to kick off to avoid, one, the heat in Orlando, and 2, the afternoon thunderstorms that pop up literally every single day in Orlando in July. So not saying that this isn't when the game should be played, but there are unquestionably challenges to when these games
get played. But then you go, okay, well, the 8 o'clock game, what if it gets pushed back an hour? Because of the thunderstorms, like what?
It could happen.
Wait, so does 10:30 go to 11:30?
I'm hoping that there are contingencies in place for these scenarios.
I don't know this, right?
Luckily, I don't have to make that decision.
Yeah.
You show up and play.
Like I said, who knows? We're just going to be as professional as we can going forward. If something throws our way, we can kind of dodge it and go about our business. But we'll see.
There's the challenges of the kickoff times. There's also the challenges of the heat in Orlando and the humidity. I know that there's been some extra rules implemented. You guys can have extra water breaks. There's now 5 substitutions. How important are those adjustments that MLS and leagues around the world have made for the game?
They're big adjustments. It's the water breaks themselves would be great. It's like a minute. Like it's not long. But it'll give you a little bit of hydration for health reasons and obviously the humidity and things, and coaching can then, make tactics and all that sort. But I think the biggest change is the 5 subs, and it allows teams to, now this is only 5 subs in 3 different occasions, I believe is what it is.
But halftime doesn't count.
Oh, that's nice.
If you make 2 subs at halftime, that doesn't count as one of your substitution opportunities. So.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. And I think, like I said before, it's going to be up to the coaches. I think a very qualified coach like Bruce is going to make good subs and good timing subs. And that's all about, knowing the game and watching the flow. And I think they're going to be very successful in that sense with our coaching staff. But, that still leaves 5 players on the field to play 90 minutes. And that could be for multiple games in a row. So it's going to be very difficult no matter what. But this does help. Not only for the health of the players and keep injuries from happening, but also the quality of the games.
Well, you have the added element too that normally in a tournament like this with a group stage, if you go into that 3rd game knowing that you're already through to the knockout rounds, you can potentially rest players in that 3rd game.
Yeah.
You can't really do that in this competition because that's still, regardless of what happens, that still counts as a regular season game. So you don't even really kind of have that that to fall back on.
There are so many scenarios that you kind of look at teams and you think, okay, there's no guarantee that our season goes on after Orlando. We are hoping, by God, we are hoping that by the time we get back, stadiums have opened up, cities have opened up where we can at least have games without fans. We would love fans to be there, but we understand that they probably won't be able to. So then is the question of come that second, third game when they realize, okay, maybe we aren't going to have a season after this, or maybe they're going to give us a few months off. Do you play those players that are on the verge of, I'm feeling my hamstring, or a big time player that isn't fit yet? Do you continue to play these players? Or are you playing young players? Do you change up your team fully because you've just played 5 guys 90 minutes, other guys, let's say 30 to 45? Do you completely turn around your team so guys can rest up? There are so many different scenarios that we can get through this that I don't know what's going to happen. We're hoping that it'd be really nice to just go through the third game to say, hey, we've got this, we're going through. But I think our depth, we could fully change a team and still go out and put out a good result. So that's a positive, I think, on our end.
There's a lot of question marks that you mentioned heading into this tournament. One of them that is not a question mark is head coach Bruce Arena. He brings so much experience from coaching in World Cup games and obviously with the national team and with you guys. So how confident does having him with you in this sort of tournament make you?
It's great. I've seen it firsthand with the Gold Cup. The way he used players was incredible, and they went on to win it, which is even better. I think the coaching staff that he has around him are even better, just as good, and they continue to push guys as well as help guys before and after training, during training. So I think the supporting staff as well as Bruce is going to be incredible. And like I said, he's been in these scenarios before. Now the extra subs actually helps, but he's been in these scenarios before where he has to continue to use players correctly and to use the depth. And I think that's to our advantage.
You had mentioned also that there's a lot of question marks after the tournament, just not exactly knowing what the 2020 season will bring. How does it help you guys mentally as players to have games currently on the books, knowing that you're at least going to be playing those 3 games in Orlando?
Well, I think that adds more to the competitiveness. It's like if you were playing on a Saturday and you knew you had Sunday off, that extra 5 minutes that you had, you're going to push because you have a day off to rest tomorrow. So now it's like, okay, we have these 3 games. Who knows what's going to happen the next day? At the moment, we have off. So push as hard as you can. Push as hard as you can, get the best results you can, and then kind of just see what happens. A little bit of extra competitiveness.
I'm sure there's a lot of competitiveness within the team right now and heading down to the tournament. And I know that speaking of competitiveness, Farrell also mentioned that was something he really missed with the team was when you guys were away, not being able to banter and have that kind of competitive spirit within each other. Which teammate did you miss the most over the last couple months before you got back?
Oh man, there's so many. But I sit next to Michael Mancian in the locker room, and I love annoying him. I'm like, oh man, I'm like a little gnat, just like in his ear. I absolutely love it. And now we're not always in the locker room at the same time, but because you have to like take shifts and things of that sort to keep distancing and things. But if I see him on the field, if I like walking past him, oh my gosh, I'm always in his ear. And the first thing he says to me, I just look at him and he goes, God, you're so annoying. And it just makes me feel so good. It makes me feel so good that I can still get under his skin.
So you missed him, but he did not miss you.
Oh, he didn't miss me at all. No, he did. He did. He loves seeing me. He knows it. But no, what the greatest part for me, and I know Farrell's like this as well, is that when we got into even the individual trainings, yeah, it's nice to get back in and things of that sort. But when we got into full training, you're able to bump a guy. You're able to like fully tackle a guy. I remember my first tackle. I slid and tackled. I think it was DeJuan, and I was so pumped. You get that adrenaline rush, and it feels so good. Now, I also got hit in the face, but that didn't feel as good. But it just gives you that extra bit of, wow, this is why I love doing this.
You mentioned getting hit in the face, and since you brought it up, you posted on social that Carlos Heel, who megged you, was trying to trim your beard. Is there any truth to that statement?
No. Not at all. Not at all. And the beard, like as big as it was, the hair down on my face, it didn't block anything. I yeah, like I said, the first day back, first week back, I realized, wow, this is worse than preseason. My whole body, literally head to toe, hurts. It wasn't fun.
Perpetual soreness. What keeps people going, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
And another teammate had a big announcement this morning. Andrew Farrell just re-signed a multi-year contract, and he's been an integral part of the team on the Revs now for 8 MLS seasons. How important has he been to the squad since you've been on it?
I think, Andrew came in my second year, and he's made an impact right away. I remember right back Farrell like it was yesterday. And now it's center back Farrell, but he's been incredible. And in my opinion, he's grown as a person as well as a player. You look at the way that his contract was announced, and that just gives you what Farrell is. He's a part of this community, and he always has been. And he gives himself fully to the people in the community, especially the people with the Special Olympics. And so he's been such a big part of that. And I've been, it's kind of fun to watch him grow in that sense, because we were here almost together throughout our first few years. So very excited for him, very happy for him. I know when I re-signed my contract back in the day, and when I came back, it was just an exciting moment. And I think he's kind of grasping that at the moment. So it's good for him.
And I know teammates push each other on the field.
Yeah.
Are you two pushing each other for the Humanitarian of the Year award, trying to push each other to do as much good as you can in the community? Because you won it 4 straight years, and Farrell came in and won it. So now it's like you guys got to push each other to do as much good as possible.
Look, I think we will always push each other to be as good as possible. I think it's great. A guy like Brandon Bai is continuing his work. I think DeJuan is now continuing his work. I know Farrell has done Renix, Matt
Turner, won Humanitarian of the Year last year.
Turner and Scott as well. When these things happen, you look at the joy that comes with not only the player. Like, I get a ton of joy doing this stuff with Kelyn's Nigu crew and with everything else in the hospitals. But you look at the joy of the families, the joy of the kids. Farrell gets to go and enjoy with the Special Olympics and everything else he does as well. He puts his hand in just about everything, which is great. You see that, and it continues to be it's contagious, and guys start to want to get behind that and join in. I know I've gotten a few guys ask me, how do I get involved in this? And it's just like, hey, just come right here with me, and we can do this. And so it's a contagious thing, and it's not a competitive thing in any sense, but it is. It does strive us to do so much more, and I love that about it.
With Kelyn's Nigu crew too, how did you guys kind of pivot once everything happened a couple months ago? Have you done anything over the past couple months for the kids since you've had challenges of not being at the stadium?
Yeah, for me, it's you love sending in videos, and I've sent a few videos into children's hospitals so they can wake up to a different voice or things of that sort. Tell a little story, read a book, which, by the way, Dr. Seuss didn't like parents because he makes tongue twisters, long books, longer than you think, full tongue twisters. Dude, come on. But you try and do as much as you can virtually, but it's not the same. You don't get that interaction. You don't get the personality. You don't get as much as you want because they're not as comfortable with you. They're looking at a screen. They're not looking at you. You're not really seeing what this person is. And so that's what I miss the most is going in and actually interacting with these kids, interacting with these families, doing our best with messages and videos and video messages, Zooms and things of that sort. But we're hoping that soon we can get back in and just say hello.
We know that the Nigu kids obviously miss you. New England fans also miss you. So before we let you go, do you have a message to them as they're eagerly awaiting you guys playing in the tournament and hopefully, fingers crossed, back at Gillette Stadium soon?
Right. Look, we as a team, we already talked about it. We're excited that we're hoping that this season comes back into play after Orlando, and we're hoping that you guys all watch in Orlando. We are looking good. We can't wait to come back. And once we do at Gillette Stadium, we're going to have an absolute party. It's going to be amazing. And we miss you guys just as much as you miss us. I guarantee you that. We cannot wait to play in front of you guys again.
We're all looking forward to when that day officially comes, hopefully soon. Thank you so much.
Absolute party.
What?
It's going to be a huge party.
All right, a huge party at Gillette Stadium. Mark your calendars coming up. Thank you so much for your time today, Kelyn. We appreciate you jumping on and talking soccer with us, the tournament, and also a lot about your hair.